And turning now to a crisis in Gaza, more than 100 humanitarian organizations warn that the population of Gaza is on the brink of starvation. In a statement today, the organizations, including Save the Children and Doctors Without Borders, say even their own colleagues in Gaza are now going without food as well. Scripps News Global Affairs correspondent Maya Rodriguez is live for us now. And Maya, what are the challenges with getting food into Gaza?
There are several issues, Andrew. One is that Israel instituted a blockade around Gaza earlier this year, loosening it slightly in May. That loosening has allowed about 4,500 aid trucks to enter Gaza since May. But aid agencies say that's just a fraction of what is needed, especially when compared to the 600 trucks that were coming into Gaza every day before the war. Now, about 2 million people live in Gaza, and the only aid agency currently distributing food in any large way is the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, also known as the GHF. It is backed by Israel and the United States, but their distribution sites have been marred by violence. According to the United Nations, more than 1,000 people have been killed at those sites just since May as they were seeking food. Some incidents involved people being trampled, but the majority involved Gazans being shot by members of the IDF, the Israel Defense Forces. The IDF has said they are trying to defend themselves in what is a chaotic situation. Now, in a letter today, more than 100 aid agencies said the food situation in Gaza is untenable. They are pushing for Israel to lift the blockade on Gaza and allow more than just the GHF to help with food distribution. Listen to what the Norwegian Refugee Council, one of the signatories on today's letter, said about what is happening in Gaza.
In terms of the food situation, I hear from my colleagues who are themselves starving that they have probably one meal a day, and that should be before bedtime so that their children don't go to bed with empty stomachs. I heard yesterday also from a colleague about a pregnant woman who was carrying a bag of flour when she was shot dead. So unfortunately, these kind of incidents, these kind of attacks are being normalized, and that's the danger.
The U.S. State Department, though, says the U.S. will continue backing the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which they say has kept food aid out of the hands of Hamas. In a statement within the last hour, the foundation said it was willing to help the United Nations distribute 950 trucks full of food, which they claim is sitting idle inside Gaza. The foundation has only a handful of distribution sites inside the 25-mile-long Gaza Strip. Here's what State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce had to say about that.
It's been always the intention, obviously, to have as many sites as possible. And again, it's been the difficulty of being in a war zone and what you can do and what you can arrange. The fact that we've had 3 sites up, and I think now it is nearly 85 million meals to date at the distribution centers that do exist. Clearly, it's not just a dynamic of wanting more distribution centers in a war zone. Our goal is to have not a war zone.
But again, other aid agencies say the meals distributed by the GHF in recent months are simply not enough for the 2 million people in Gaza. They say Gazans are on the brink of starvation. The World Food Program says, quote, there is an astonishing level of desperation, adding that 100,000 women and children in Gaza are now suffering from severe acute malnutrition. So far, though, a famine has not been declared at Gaza. That is done by a group called the IPC, which is made up of UN agencies, aid groups, governments, and others. They declare a famine only when certain conditions are met based on the number of people who are starving. They say the problem is because Israel has limited access to the Gaza Strip, they can't gather enough data to see whether or not there is actually a famine going on. Andrew?
All right, so Maya, given all of that, where do things stand now when it comes to ceasefire negotiations between Hamas and Israel?
Well, so far they seem to be frozen, really at a standstill at this point. The State Department says that the special presidential envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, is heading to the region soon to see what can be done to get a ceasefire finally over the finish line. Andrew?
All right, Scripps News Global Affairs correspondent Maya Rodriguez for us in our D.C. newsroom. Maya, thank you.